All right, guys, welcome to Wayne's World Garage. We're out here in the woods again. We're gonna scope out this big oak tree which died and just check it out and see what she looks like. We're also gonna take a cruise over to Merle's property and look at the oak we cut down the other day and just see how that looks. But this tree is an interesting tree. It's a pretty good sized tree. It'll be a challenge to get out, and we don't cut any live trees down, but what the heck, let's take this guy down since he's dead. So this property we're on here is comprised of over 100 acres, but it was put together with several different people's property. And this has been some years before this it was some years ago when this property was last harvested for trees. So this is just a nice piece of land. Interesting part, we're up 50 feet above the creek, maybe 60 feet. If you look down there, and you can't see it, but there's actually a berm from a dam because there was a grist mill down there several hundred years ago. And that's kind of cool. Can't find anything about the grist mill other than it was there. It's in a couple of old history books. So as you can see, we're walking up to this tree here, and he's kind of dead up there at the top. And he's a tall tree. I'd say he's probably 80 feet. So for us, that's a pretty good tree for Maryland. And the other thing that's interesting about this guy is none of our trees are old growth here in Maryland. They were all cut down after or during the Civil War, and then they cut them down again in the 60s and 70s to harvest them. So this one, I'm guessing, no, they did not cut down in the 60s and 70s because some parts of this property was not harvested. So who knows why they didn't get this one out. It'll be a challenge because, as you can see, there's kind of a slope here, so I'm not quite sure how we're going to get it out. It's certainly not going to fall uphill. It's leaning like crazy, but the reason we kind of have an interest in this guy is because there's got to be 30 or 40 feet of nice straight log there. And if we look at the base of this tree, this is a big tree. And I'm kind of guessing, I meant to bring my yardstick with me. He is probably every bit of 3 foot diameter, maybe a little bit more. Paul, you want to stand in front of him and we'll see what he looks like. Can you put your arms around him?
Not even.
All right, you can't get your arms around him? No. That's a good sized tree. So there's a pretty good indication of this guy. He's not small, and he'll have a lot of wood, but the bottom part of it is bottom 25 feet. I don't know what we're going to do with it because it's a big tree. But at least I know which way it's going to fall for darn sure. It's still not going to come straight down, and we'll see what we can do from that. Anyway, that will be the project in the next couple of weeks. We'll see what we can do. But before we do that, we do want to figure out if we've got a method to get him out of here, because we don't just cut trees down. So we need to figure out how to safely get him out of here. And my tractor, being barely 40 horsepower, 35, will have a problem pulling this guy out. So we'll head back towards the Kubota and head over to Merle's house. And just here's a view. There's a bunch of old trees here. And old for us in Maryland is not that old. These are probably 60 or 70 years old. And there's another one right in front of me. Nice, tall, straight wood. He's 30-inch diameter at the base, but you know, he's alive, and hopefully he'll stay alive for a long time. We like this part of the woods because there's not a lot of debris and undergrowth here, and it just works out really well. And if you look carefully down there, you'll see some white down there. What might those be? Those are the targets. That's the downrange part of the targets, and that's where we sometimes go plinking across the creek. So let's get cracking and head over to Merle's. All right, well, now this tree here is on my buddy Merle's property. This could be old school tree. If you look at the base of it, it's probably 8 foot diameter, 10 foot diameter. It's an old poplar tree, and it goes up a little ways. Sadly, the local neighborhood hooligans, you know, used it as a chimney and set fire inside of it, but there's actually still a little bit of growth coming up out of the top of it. But it's a big tree. Spread your arms out just as wide as you can. There you go. And it's a cool tree. It's a big tree. This is what all these trees would look like if we hadn't have harvested them. But they needed to clear the land to put up tobacco barns and stuff like that. So it's big. It's dirty in there, so be careful. So I'm guessing this is even 6 or 8 feet in the air. It's probably 10 feet across, 8 feet across diameter. It's a massive tree. But anyway, it's cool. On to the next one. All right, well, here we are. We're up at Merle's place. This tree here was dead. It was a nice oak tree, so we whacked it down. So Let me just see what we got here and how we did. Not bad. The hinge, I was off a little bit in the hinge, but it worked out okay. It certainly fell where we wanted to. We wedged the daylights out of these. But again, this is a gorgeous piece of wood here. And I think he wants to make firewood out of it. And his property, his wood, would make nice something else too, that's for sure. But we don't need it for anything else. You know, I've got plenty of other wood around, but that'll be several cords of firewood. And it's not, again, they're not a big tree. Let me see if you can get a relative size of it. Yeah, there's my boot. Where's my boot? One. So it's 2 foot diameter, but it's still a pretty good size. For us, it's not a bad sized tree in Maryland. And it cut and came right down. It was leaning a little bit in that direction. The top half of this tree broke off during a storm a year ago. So here's the top half over here. It's kind of cool. I just wanted to scope this out and see how she looks. But she looks pretty good. And we'll give Merle a hand maybe dragging this guy out or bucking him into little pieces so we can split him up. It'll be a good tree.
All right. Well, thanks for watching this. Hope you enjoyed it. Merry Christmas. Have a Happy New Year. Stay safe. And if you like this, please hit subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and leave a comment. We're just goofing off. We thought we'd put this online and see if everybody wants to watch it. Take care.